everyone, I'm Ian McCarthy of Lifting for Life, and today I would like to talk to you about why I generally recommend avoiding cheat meals when cutting. First of all, as you get leaner, you are probably going to get more hungry as a result of things like increased ghrelin secretion, which I think it's important to note you can only fully get around by gaining that fat back. And that increased hunger is going to mean that it's going to get easier and easier to massively overeat in a way which will significantly slow down or even halt your progress or even actually cause a regression. So to give an example, let's say you have someone who does everything right 6 days a week. They've created exactly a 500 calorie a day energy deficit on those days. It's not really going to be that, but it's a hypothetical. And then they have their weekly cheat meal and they're just starving and they have a decent capacity to eat. And they end up eating 3,000 calories on top of what they would normally be eating on that day. So the 500 calorie deficit isn't there, and then you have an additional 2,500 calories, which would then negate the 5 days worth of a 500 calorie deficit. So the overall result is a 500 calorie weekly deficit, which is very, very, very significantly less than 3,500, which is probably what they desire. And again, that's one scenario. It is not hard to conceive of one where someone actually does what they need to do throughout the week and then they binge or cheat so hard that they actually regress over time. So this is a huge issue, one which I do think is fairly obvious and is talked about, but it's a very good reason for most people to avoid cheat meals with any kind of regularity when cutting. Interestingly, though, I think there's another point which doesn't get talked about much. People will say the big reason why people will want to have cheat meals, or the reason offered, I mean, it might be as simple as like they're just lazy and they want to eat junk food, but people say, okay, it gives you a psychological break, and on balance, that might be worth it. You know, you have a cheat meal, you just feel so chill, you're able to hit it hard the next week. Maybe on balance it works, and I would acknowledge that it can work, but it needs to be said that there are some cases where that psychological break is on balance a psychological loss, for lack of a better term, in that eating that junk food, which you might not normally eat or in a quantity you don't normally eat, can actually create or exacerbate the craving for that food. So let me give an example that I've experienced with. So I'm not making this up. This is something that's actually happened with me. When I'm cutting, someone died. When I'm cutting and cheat on my cut, which it happens, it depends on the context as to why I do it, but I've noticed that I then desire that food more, and it causes adherence to be more difficult at best. So it's harder to do what you need to do that's the best outcome. You still do it, but it is more difficult. So same result, more effort, which is less desirable than the same result, less effort. Or it's so much more difficult you're not able to do it, and then you adhere less to your usual diet, which you then have to, that negative effect, that physiological effect of you're eating more food than you should be, is added to the same effect that you're getting from the cheat meal. So that's just a huge loss there. That's extra calories from the cheat meal. It's actually increasing cravings, maybe decreasing adherence. Well, then you're negatively affecting your progress more. And that's a really terrible outcome, and one which I don't think is, so unlikely to happen that it's not worth discussing. Now, to reiterate a phrase that I said in my previous video, I want to give a balanced presentation here. So I would say that a context, or the context in which it would make sense to have cheat meals, would be one where it does actually give you a psychological break, meaning you have a cheat meal, you don't want to continue cheating. Indeed, you want afterwards, you are then more motivated to stick to your usual diet, and the cheat meals aren't so significant in terms of energy content that they are significantly impinging on your weekly, or let's say diminishing your weekly energy deficit. I do think that will be true for some people, a significant minority of folks, but I still think it's going to be a minority. So my general suggestion would be to not cheat on your diet. I wanted to use a joke about cheating generally, but I couldn't think of it. It wasn't going to be funny. So I will leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in it, please do hit the like button, comment below with your thoughts, and I will see you again soon.